start with, okay? Right, if we look at these then, Richard, okay? So we'll talk about this. So initially, if we look at this left-hand one, if I'm there swinging the club, what we're looking for is the club going back to take away about here.
Yeah.
You can see from a camera perspective, when the camera's sort of level with your hips and stuff, the club now is opposite your right calf, okay?
Yeah.
So very low to the ground, working on this sort of inside position, okay?
Right.
What you would instinctively do, okay, as the club goes back, would swing it like way up there.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of that as you sort of tilting to try and keep the club facing down rather than letting your hands and your arms control, partly because you're gripping on as tight as you were to start with, you weren't able to control that club. So from here now, to the golf club back, just there. So you're not really sort of moving your torso to try and tilt it. Your hands and arms are controlling the club face. All your torso is basically going from start position and just twisting back there, okay? And the club stays now nice and low. If you have to lift that club up in the air to try and get the club face down, what you're going to be doing now is kind of be coming down very steep, chopping across it, cutting across the golf ball, and then you're back to square one with your high launch angle, okay? Yeah. This one on the right-hand side, to be fair to you, was you doing it by yourself after a bit of practice. We can see that club face there is far better off than that one on the left-hand side there now. Now, all that club face is in a square position. You've lifted. Now, I come in there and do all this kind of stuff. Even with all that stuff there, do your back around to get comfortable again. You can still see that club face here has still been picked up quite quickly. Yeah. It's not bad in terms of face position, but it's kind of like just lifting up, which is not you taking the torso and moving it away. It's just you trying to lift your arms up to try and control the club face, which then means your backswing, that's going to be no length at all, okay? So it's getting that takeaway right where the club goes back this way, working more so your torso is turning as the club goes back, keeping that, as we say, the leading edge of the golf club and your spine need to be in line. What you used to have was the toe pointing upwards, very much open club face, and then the only way you could square the club, well, there's two ways. One would be a lot of right-hand action to try and square it, very inconsistent, or you lean back on your back foot and scoop your hands. Yes, the ball went straight, but then went very high, up in the low 30s with your launch angle, or going over the net on your back garden, as you said. So what I would practice, as we discussed in the session, put something on your net in front of you that's maybe, I don't know, probably chest high, that would be about 25 degrees from where the ball is to that mark, and just find a speed that you can hit underneath that mark. Maybe sort of start, say, just under your chest area somewhere, hit under that. What does it feel like, or what do you feel you have to do with your palm and your torso and that weight shift? And again, do it with small shots. Do it with a really tiny kind of swing, not a big swing movement at all. Just get that ball flight going off lower and sort of under that mark to hit it where you want to go. If you do that, that one there, you just hit the shank, is basically your arms looking very tight. You've picked up the club this way, Richard, then sort of just swung out and around and just hit the hosel, okay? So getting that club to work better on the takeaway, more on the inside, that's very steep again, that's better. So your torso is turning. As we said, what you're trying to do, as the feeling is, you're turning into that right hip, okay? Right heel is where the weight's going to be, exactly. So you're lifting that toes off the ground as purely a feeling. That's not an actual way of swinging a golf club, obviously, but that is a feeling of what you're able to do if you turn into that right hip better, okay? So if you turn into that right hip better, we can come back, lovely shot, okay? Now that launch angle will be still high-ish, but lower than normal because the takeover is better, okay? The impact for you is probably still similar, so it's in the high 20, there you go, 29, okay? But at least the face was square.
62 yards out of
nothing. Yeah, exactly. Because the efficiency... Now, again, if we said to you, if we brought that launch angle down to, say, 25... and added maybe 5% more speed, that's up to 100 yards without doing anything. I mean, 5% more speed to you with this length swing is nothing at all, is it? I mean, you're hardly hitting it at all, as you said. And it's getting still quite a lot of distance, okay? So it's more efficiency with the shot, yeah? So the club face is going round your body more so. You're relaxed in the arms. That's one of the key things we discussed, okay? So you're super soft with the grip pressure. That was about a launch angle. That was a very small swing, but yeah, distance-wise up there with how much effort you put into it, is a lot more power or more energy to the back of the ball, yeah? And that's ultimately what we're trying to achieve, is get a more efficient ball flight without you having to do so much manipulation at 80 mile an hour, yeah? Get the club at the start position square with your hands slightly forward, sort of towards that left thigh. And then the takeaway now is the main focus. So when you sort of ping some videos through, we'll look at down the line views we've got here now. See how that takeaway is looking. Is the club going back nice and low and hooded, or is it going back quite picky and steepy and chopping across it? Okay, buddy? Make sense?
Yeah.
Good man, well done.